That's not what that we have there are 4 levels. And by us, it's mineral, vegetable, animal, and medaber, communicating, speaking. That's the realm that we're on. And what we do in the Beis Hamikdash is to elevate. The Beis Hamikdash is the holiest place, and the Kohen is the holiest of Medaber, and he deals with the mineral becomes part of vegetable, which becomes part of animal, which becomes part of man. And when we use all these levels in the service of God, the Creator, that's why He created it. And so we, the Medaber, and the Medaber uses his mouth. Torah is very instructive and very particular, telling us from the laws of the 600 things that we have to do to bring down the 613 mitzvahs on the 613 kochos hanefesh, soul powers. And that's why we have to learn Torah and know the whole Torah. And that's why God created us. And we can communicate. And there is such a thing as communicating and vowing. And that, when a person wants to go to a higher level, he can vow. If he's in a situation where he feels that a certain thing which is permissible but is in his way, like the Nazir vow not to drink wine because wine which is supposed to help him in his holiness, and we're Makadosh on wine, make kiddush on wine. Nonetheless, to some people it's been a stumbling block. Wine, it's intoxicating. So wine is permitted, but he makes a vow that for a certain time he's going to be off wine. And you'll join the AA, the Alcoholics Anonymous, in their work, and their very good work to make people sober. Anyway, so that's he vows to reject, to make forbidden, because he vows that does make him forbidden, and he can have a vow for a month, for how long he feels. There's those that have a vow not to drink wine in their lifetime. A Nazir, to cut their hair. It's certainly permissible to cut your hair, or you can only make permissible things with your vow forbidden to you. Can't make it forbidden to anybody else, but you make it to you. You cannot make something which is forbidden permissible. That doesn't happen. You can only make something which is permissible, and you can make it to yourself, for yourself, forbidden, because it's caused you problems in whatever area of your life. But you should know that there are plenty of Gemaras that say, isn't it enough? Isn't it enough that what the Torah made forbidden for you? 365 things you gotta take from the 248, which are permissible, and make them forbidden to you. And it's in heaven. It's not acceptable so much, and because God, the permissible things, God gave it that we should elevate it. We should elevate wine when we drink it in moderation. But it's a mitzvah to drink wine. And you're forbidding it on yourself. You forbid, I'm not going to eat steak. You know what? Hey, it's a permissible thing. But it's held against you. That steak is going to come and in your next level of life to you and say, why, if you had a portion of steak and you kosher, glatt kosher steak, and you didn't eat it, it's going to come and cry to you and say, why didn't you eat me and elevate me through your eating by serving God? I can't serve God, but I can be part of service to God, and that's what I was put on the world. And you didn't give me that opportunity. Okay, there's plenty of stories with the Baal Shem Tov, and making brachas on physical things. That's why we're here. So it's the language in what the Parshas starts with, Esar Israel Macho. Somebody who makes a vow. So, and wow, you can, for a little girl who makes a vow, she's in her father's, if she's very little, she doesn't know what a vow's all about, so she's just babbling. But a little girl that's before 11, and one day, and she's in her father's in her father's protection, and her father, if he hears her vows, he can invalidate them. And the husband who hears his wife's vows can invalidate them if he hears them in time. Okay. So, but I'm starting from the beginning. My Rabbi Moshe Rashi ha Matos. Moshe spoke to the heads of the tribes. Ish ki dornet der la Hashem. Anyone who make a vow to God. Hado dichsiv v'nishbato chai Hashem be'emes b'mishpat u'b'tzedakah. If you will swear, and if you by the living God, you have to you have the in truth and in justice and in the righteousness. Amar lehem HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael. God said to the Jewish people, Lo tihya svurim. Hey, don't be of the opinion. Don't think. Shehutar lachem l'hishavah bishmi. That you have permission to swear in my name. This pasuk from Yirmiyahu says, "Nishbata Chai Hashem." That's in God's name. You can't do it unless you are, and we have the three things that follow. As it says in the pasuk, and that's mishpat and tzedakah. And God, there in there's a whole portion of Torah that speaks about shvuos, That person has to swear that he's telling you the truth in a litigation, and he swears, but and he swears on the truth. Nonetheless, you have no right to swear in my name, God says. Elohim ken yebecha kol hamidos ha'elu. If you will have all these virtues, then you can swear. Because it says as Hashem Elokecha Tira. So you have to have that quality that you fear. It means you revere. That means you're aware of God's presence in your life. That's what before you can swear. You have to be as Hashem Elokecha Tira. Hey, that's told to each one of us, to me, and to you. You must fear God. Now, again, we've spoken about it. I've spoken about it many times, and in the context of my little grandchild, when she was little, over 20 years ago. She had bad dreams one week, and her mother had to go and hold her and soothe her. And as it happened a couple times in a row, the child wakes up screaming. And what are you screaming? Because I have things that make me fear, and I just am afraid of the night, and I'm afraid. And she's 4 years old, and her mother tells her, Mushy, you're only one. There's nothing, you don't have to fear anything. God is with you. The only one you have to fear is God himself. So she hears that, fear God. I'm not afraid of God. He's Jewish. That's what the little kid says. So she doesn't, God's good. He doesn't hurt, he's Jewish. And Jews have a reputation that they don't mug people. They don't bite people. They don't hurt. They don't beat people. So what does it mean, fear God? And I like much better to use the word revere. That's also free. That it means you're afraid of sin. You're afraid to do a sin. You are sin, and not the punishment of it, which is sin is opposite of God's will. So you fear the sin itself, not its punishment, because it's bad for you, and it's bad, and go through the 365 sins. So you have to be Yirei Hashem. My father got a big compliment from the Rebbe one time when a rabbi, collector for yeshiva, went into the Rebbe, and he's a Meshulach, and he wanted a bracha that he should be successful. Meshulach means a collector. A shliach is somebody who is an emissary. A meshulach is somebody who's sent to raise money for a project, or if necessary, for himself. And Jews have to, give to everybody, even if you're not so impressed with the collector. You don't judge. You just give. You don't have to give him a lot, but you have to give him something, because you shouldn't be judgmental in giving to people, because you don't want God to be judgmental on you, in terms of giving you what do you deserve. Don't look, judge people favorably who ask you for money. And sure, there's those on the streets, with the signs give. And a lot of people don't want to give it, rightly so, because they fear that these people who are asking for the money are going to use it for drugs or alcohol or for other not good reasons that are going to hurt themselves. So a lot of people give food, have food ready, granola bars ready in their car, and give them plenty, so they'll have what to eat. They don't give money, but it's if you have, you should give something. But anyway, so here he says that you can't use the name of God in a vow unless you are one that fears God. I mean, that you're supposed to love God. Hey, in the Torah, right away it says, "Hear, O Israel, God our God, God is one, and you shall love God with all your heart, with all your soul, and what you possess." That's a positive command. No, but you got to be aware of him. You got to know him before you love him. And it says also, you have to have Yiras Hashem. The name of the game is understanding that God's real, God's a being, God's listening, and being aware of that all the time. And therefore, you eat. Hey, God never said to anybody, "Don't eat." One day of the year, God says not to eat. I'm Kippur. Eat, but don't be a glutton. Eat, but eat kosher. Same thing on all the permitted things. I want you to do them, but do them as a kadosh. Do them as a means, not an end. Do it to make yourself healthy and well. To do mitzvahs, you got to eat. Not drink. Got to be healthy. And to be healthy, you got to eat. Fasts don't help you being healthy. But anyway, so you got to be aware of the presence of God. But here it says, "As Hashem Elokecha tira," you should fear the God. You know that He's looking at you. That's when you can swear. You can use God. Say it's making you feel better. You feel you got to make something which is permissible. The only way you'll get it off the table, you'll get it off hurting you, and you determine that it hurts you, this permissible thing. Okay, you can get it off the table, but the only way you can get it off, they shouldn't do it, is by you're vowing, "I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to eat it." But you got to be a Yorei Shamayim. Shetehei ke'osan shenikru yirei Elokim. You got to be like those who are called in the Torah. Yirei Elokim. I was in the middle of telling you a story about Yechidus that the Rebbe told the Meshulach. you know, he asked him, "Where are you going?" He said, "I'm going to Minneapolis." And who do you stay with in Minneapolis? I say, I stay by Rabbi Moshe Feller. And the Rebbe answers, Rabbi Moshe Feller, he is a Yid a Yorei Shemayim. He fears God. He's a Yorei Shemayim. That's the highest title you can get. You know, I probably told you this story. Then the Rebbe asked this Masholach, "How are you going to Minneapolis?" He says, "I'm taking a train." And the Rebbe tells him, "In this day and age, it's a waste of time. Why don't you, a train will take you 24 hours. A flight will take you 3 hours. Why don't you take a plane?" He says, I'm afraid to fly." So the Rebbe says, "You're afraid? I'll tell you what. Take along a Sefer HaTanya. And if you take a Sefer HaTanya, that's magnum opus, that's the core book of Chabad Hasidus, which the Alter Rebbe wrote. And the Rebbe tells him, if you take a Tanya, so the Alter Rebbe, the author, the Rebbe Shneur Zalman of Lodi is going with you on the plane. And you have a Tanya. And if the Alter Rebbe is going with you, do you have what to be afraid of? And the guy started flying. Anyway, but my father was called Yerushalayim by the Rebbe. And here the Midrash tells us we should be, who's called in scriptures in the Tanakh. There are three who are called Yerei Shemayim. Abraham, Abraham, our father. We'll soon see where. Eov, Job, Yosef. And Yosef Atzadik, you know, Yosef, Yaakov's son, the brothers of the tribes who became, they sold him down to Egypt, and he became the top leader, second to the king, and even instructing the king. He was top man in Egypt. So there's three that are called Abraham, Eov, and Yosef. Abraham, the Chsiv, that God said about him, Ki atu yadaiti ki yareh Elokim ato. Abraham was tested by God. And, you know, there is 10 tests. And the last test was that he waited so long to have a son. And when the son was Yitzchak, when he was 37 years old, he's told by God to take the son and bring him up on the mountain as a olah, as a burnt offering to me. And here Abraham prayed for children. He didn't have children until he was 100 years old. No, he had his first child when he was 87 years old, Ishmael. But he had from Sarah when he was 100 and Sarah was 90. Boy, would that make even news, the tremendous news on CNN and all the media. And that happened. And there's a whole scene that we repeat on Rosh Hashanah. So many things are part of our faith that happened there at that near sacrifice, because in the last minute, Abraham, you know what happened, you know the incident. Abraham was 137 and his son was 37, and Abraham went up to the mountain with his son, and he bound him. He made a mizbeach, an altar, and he put the son on the mizbeach, on the wood of the mizbeach, and he took, in the last minute, after he already took the sword to slaughter his son, like you do to a korban, to an animal, and God stops him and says, "Hey, Abraham, don't put away don't do anything to your son, nothing. I just tested you, and now I know that you Yirei Elohim, you fear me, that you are aware of me." So in this sentence, God calls him, now I know that there's nothing you wouldn't do for me, because you are aware of my presence. And Abram was, you have to, you know what, you could ask the question. It just, occurred to me, well, why doesn't God say, now I know you really love me, because there's nothing you wouldn't give me. But God doesn't say that. Now I know that you fear me, and there's nothing you would withhold. Well, it has a very good ending here. And the Midrash says that God says, Abraham says to God, please, God, explain to me. This is after he did not, the last second, he did not offer. He put him on the altar, and God, that was good enough for God. And Abraham asked God, can you please explain me the situation? Because first you tell me that I'm going to have a son who's going to be the forebearer of the whole holy nation, and you're going to have a son. And I tell him, it's enough. I have one son already. I have Ishmael. He said, no, you're going to have a son from Sarah, and he's going to be your descendant. Okay, wonderful. Now you tell me to take and bring him up as an olah, as a peace offering on the altar. Please, God, tell me how do you explain both things. First, you tell me he's going to be my heir and my descendant, that the Jewish people are going to come from him, and then you tell me offer him up on the altar. So you know what God tells him? Did I ever tell you to slaughter him? I told you to bring him up on the altar. Now I told you, after you brought him up on the altar, I told you, take him down from the altar. I didn't ask you to slaughter him. And that's already a good enough offering that you offered him, and you put him on the Mizbeach. And you put him on the Mizbeach. Now take him down. And boy, of course, that was a big relief. But he asked, explain the contradiction here. First, you tell me the Jewish people are going to come from him. Then you tell me, and this is part of the Torah, and this is what we read on Rosh Hashanah. And this is why we blow shofar, because instead of offering, Yitzhak, of course, there was a ram in the thicket, and he took the ram and he sacrificed the ram, which goes on, and afterwards in the base of Midrash all the time, the ram is a kosher animal. And the ram's horn is used on Rosh Hashanah, and that is to bring to God's awareness of what Abram was willing to do, and that Ol Elokim b'Sefer Hashem b'Kol Teruah. God changes from Elokim to Hashem. The name of Elokim is strictness, and God goes up from the seat of judgment to the seat of mercy, and through the blowing of the shofar, when the Jews blow the shofar, which is supposed to sound like a cry. And it's the collective cry of the Jewish people. We're sorry. Please give us a safe and happy year. And it's going to be pretty soon already, It's as of the 4 days after Tisha B'Av, which will be soon, we can already say, Jews bless each other. You should have a good that should seal you for life. Anyway, so here you see that Abram is called a Yireh Hashem. The next one who's called a Yireh Elokim is Iyov, Job. Diksiv Ish Tom V'Yosher Yoreh Elokim. Job was a whole, straight fearer of God. Okay, hey, God is calling me here, Elohim. And then, who's the third one? Joseph, Yosef. Dichsi Es Elohim Ani Yarei. Joseph said, when the brothers accused him, when they didn't know yet, who he was, and he tells them that, hey, I wouldn't. I'm only going to take you for your brother. I'm not going to enslave you. I'm not going to make you. I'm only take the young brother who, I think this is where it says it. Who stole my magic cup, and I won't take you guys. So Lakim Ani Yorei, I fear God. That's the scripture. So you have 3 psukim that where God says that, said by Abram ki and Job is called the Ish Tom Shalom Yirei Elokim. He's called the fear of God, and Joseph is called the fear of God. So that's the first thing you have to have, the first quality. You have to be a Yirei Elokim, like these fellows. Abraham, you have to be like Abraham, Job, and Yosef. So these are that's the first thing it says in our chapter, and Hashem Elokecha you have to fear God. So these people, in order for you to vow, you've got to be one who fears God and thinks about God. Not, right away, I swear. People shouldn't say, I swear to. G-D. People jump and say that. You shouldn't do that. Unless you are as follow. We just said, unless you are aware that you're in God's presence and you speak to Hashem and you daven to Hashem. Um, and as you have to then and you have to be also tavod. You have to serve God. You have to avoid it. You have to be an obey. You have to be a worker. You have to fear God and you have to serve Him. Im ata mefana atzmecha l'Torah, if you make time to learn Torah, u'lasok b'mitzvahs, and to do mitzvahs, ve'im lecha avoda acheres, and you don't have anything else, that's what you do. L'kach nemar ba'oso tavod, you should serve God. The Rambam writes, hey, you have to make a living. Yeah, okay, the Rambam writes, divide your day like this, 12 hours. You should work for 3 hours to make your livelihood, and 9 hours you should learn. And look, you still have 12 hours to sleep and eat. But in terms of learning, 9 hours a day. No, how many people say they learn 9 hours a day? But you have to. There's in Hilchos Talmud Torah. There you have to learn by day and by night. That if you learn a couple halachas in Shulchan Aruch, in Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, even in Hebrew or in English, and you learn in the morning and you learn in the evening. So you fulfill the minimum in learning. But the maximum is that should be the majority of your day. But you serve Kavod, you serve God, and you're doing mitzvahs, your mitzvah Talmud Torah, and your mitzvah Zakah, and the mitzvah of Abbas Yisrael. And then it says, okay, so you got this, you got to be your Lakim, and you have to be a Tava, serve God, and you have to make yourself time for Torah and the fulfillment of mitzvahs. That's your involvement. That's you. That's what you're really giving over. That's core. Your job is peripheral to make a living. But core is learning Torah and doing mitzvahs. And you know what else you have to do? In order to be able to swear and say God's name is swearing, which is a high thing, which connects you with God, but you can't do it. There's another quality that you have to have, another virtue. Ubo book. You have to cleave to God. So the Midrash asks, can a person cleave to God? It says, how can you cleave to him? God is a fire that eats, that consumes. You can't cleave to it. So, to visualize a fire that consumes, but God is. That's you can't cleave to him. You're not on the level. What does it mean, cleave to God? He's fire. You can't take hold of him. You know. So what does the Midrash say? What does it mean, cleaving to God? This teaches you. Koramasi bitoil Talmud. Anyone who marries off his daughter to a Talmud Chacham, Shekayla V'Shoyne, anybody who gives his daughter to marries her off to this guy, the person who is a Talmud, who learns and davens. Boisa Pakamatya, and you do business with this guy in the 3 hours that he does work. And you support the Talmud Chacham, supporting the Talmud Chacham who's learning Torah and doing mitzvahs at a high level. That's cleaving to God. Zehu shenemar alav ubo tzidbak. That's what it means. You should cleave to him. So now, if you have all these qualities of your Yorei Shemayim and you're Oived Hashem, and you cleave to God, you support the Talmidei Chachamim, and you yourself serve God. You yourself learn Torah and do mitzvahs. That's your core involvement. And you're Hashem, you fear God. So then, אם יש בך כל המידות האלה, אתה רשאי להישבע. If you have all these qualities, then you are permitted to swear to God with his name. Being love, and if you don't have all these qualities, you're not fit. Therefore, you're not permitted to swear. And the Gemara brings, the Midrash brings a story. The story happened with Yanai HaMelech. שהיו לו 2,000 ayaros. He had 2,000 cities, villages in his domain. But what happened? B'kulam nakravu. They were destroyed. Why? Al shvuas emes, people making who weren't fit to make the vows, but they were true vows on things they were going to do or not going to do. Permitted things to them. Ketzad Amar Adam L'Chabero. Well, what does that mean? A shvur that you're permitted to do, but you shouldn't have done it. Omer Adam L'Chabero B'shvua Shani Holech V'Ochel Kach V'Kach B'Makom Ploni. Hey, buddy, my friend, I'm going to eat in this restaurant. I'm going to have a delicious steak. I'm going to do, I swear, shouldn't have done it. But it's not, he didn't swear to do anything that is not permitted. He's very permitted to eat a steak, a kosher steak. I said, I'm going to eat it in this restaurant. I'll drink these beverages there. I swear, I swear to GDSD that and he shouldn't. B'makom ploni. When they did it, they went to the restaurant and they ate that stuff, but they shouldn't have swear. And that caused the cities to be destroyed. Look what happened to people. And to Yanai HaMelech, when the subjects swore for true things that they did. They said, I swear to GDSD. You shouldn't have done it. So, sheker alachas kama v'kama. If a person swears falsely, how much more so is it going to be punishment? So, the outcome of this is don't say ever, I swear to. Gee, that's the, you shouldn't even say, I swear. That you wouldn't get it's only using the name of God we're talking about. And we can't relate to this so much because we're swearing in a way has a big. It have these qualities of Yorei Hashem and Oved Hashem and the David by Hashem and cleaving to God. Then when you swear to God, you're connecting yourself with Him on a higher level. This is today we don't have any swearing, not official swearing. Uh, you know, religious guy. When he's supposed to, when a judge tells him to swear, he says we're not allowed to swear, but I affirm, that this is true. But you don't swear. And so again, what we take out of this is don't say I swear, even without. How many people say I swear to see that day? So it's something we have to keep away from, and that's what this Midrash is telling us. Okay, next thing I want to do this thing which is really very, everything is relevant, but you'll see what I mean. God tells the Jewish people, Nakom Beis. This is the next very Medrash. Nakom Niknas B'nai Yisrael Ve'es HaMidyanim. This is what God is telling Moshe. Achar, after you take revenge of the Jewish people from the Midyanim, and then you will leave this world, Teosef Elamecha, you will be absorbed, you'll be with your ancestors, Moshe is 120. But we know how much Moshe didn't want to leave this world, and we've learned that in the Midrash, and we'll learn it again. But Moshe, you've got to take revenge from the Midyanim. Now remember, why is the Midyanim and the Moabites? Remember, they were the ones that were sent by Balak, was a Moabite. And he was scared that the Jews would devour them when they came in their land. And they got the Midyanim to go with them and to Bilam, to curse the Jews. And we know that didn't happen. The explanation as to why you have to Nakom Nikmas B'nai Yisrael Me'es Hamijanim. This was said to the Jewish people, that you should take your revenge of the Jewish people from what remember the daughters of Midian uh, uh, fornicated with the Jewish boys. After getting them, Bilam gave them that. Bilam couldn't. He had such a hate for the Jewish people, but he couldn't get them by cursing them because God turned all his curses to blessings. But he had such a hatred for the Jewish people. He said, "You want to get them? I'll tell you how to get them. I'll give you advice. Have them fornicate, be intimate with the with the trot out the Midianite girls to entice the Jewish boys, and this was a big no-no. And 24,000 Jewish boys lost their lives because they fornicated. They again, I told you, we've discussed why. When there was up in the mountains, it was going on with Bilam and Bullock, and he couldn't get out any curses on the Jewish people, and all this, he only could say blessings to the Jewish people, one of the famous blessings. Matova Alecha Yaakov Mishlichecha Yisrael. How goodly are your tents, Jacob, your dwelling places, Israel. But he gave Balak this and so they trotted out. It was the Midianite girls that they trotted out, and that had the fornication with the Jews. So Moshe was commanded to take the revenge of the Jewish people because they lost because of what the Midianites did to them. They lost 24,000. So and the reason why only the Midianites Moshe had to fight, and then he would pass away, and not the Moabites, because the Moabites had a legitimate reason, as far as they were concerned, to try to get they thought the Jews were a threat to them. But they weren't any threat to Midian. Midian wasn't in the area where the Jews were passing through or going to have it as their land. And so Moshe didn't have to have military excursions against the Moabites, but he had to have a military excursion against the Midianites. And so and then then so this is something that Moshe has to do before he dies. So the Midrash says right over here. Rabbi Yehuda says, Ilu haya reitze Moshe lichyais kama shanim haya chai. Hey, if God tells him, take the revenge of Israel on the Midianite people, and then you're going to go to your parents, then you will be absorbed by your parents. that you're going to pass away. So his passing away is contingent on his destroying Midian. So Rabbi Yaakov says if Moshe wanted to live longer, he could have delayed taking the revenge on Midian. Rabbi Yehuda Imar, Eloi writes Moshe. Lichiyos Moshe wanted to live longer than his 120 years. Eloi writes Moshe Lichiyos Kama Shonim. He could have lived if he wouldn't, if he would have tarried, if he delayed getting rid of the Midianites. Shenemar lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Nakom, take revenge, and Achat Osef. So take vengeance on the Midianites, and then you will be added. You will lie with your fathers. But Moshe wouldn't be like that. Torah Kosuv Misaso Ben Midian. Moshe's dying was conditioned on his getting rid of Midian. To tell, let us, the world know the great praise of Moshe. He knew very well, and that's why God said it, that get rid of Midian and then you'll die. So Moshe could have, if he didn't get rid of Midian, or if he would take a couple of years to do it, he delayed it. So Moshe said, Omar, Bishvil She'echya, that Moshe said to himself, okay, God wants me, I should get rid of Midian, and then I'll die. So I couldn't, in other words, until I get rid of him, I'm not going to die. Bishvil She'echya Yaakov Nikmas Israel, but because I should live, I should hold back, I should delay the vengeance of Israel. Miyad Vaydaber Moshe El Ha'am. Right away, Moshe spoke to the Jewish people. Lemor Hechotzu Mitchem Anoshim L'Tzava. Arm people to get armed, and but it has to be Anoshim. It has to be spiritually good guys. Anoshim, tzaddikim. This is, in the Jewish army that fought, they look all the time. Anoshim, Anoshim is equal to he's calling him tzaddikim. So you gotta find, it says 12,000 to each tribe.
In the early 1960s, many Americans feared that the Soviet Union was planning a surprise nuclear attack on the
U.S. Anoshim. He calls me Anoshim. What kind of people? Anoshim? Tzaddikim. B'chal, like it says, B'chal lo Anoshim, when they fought a Molech. Choose for us Anoshim. Lo say Nikmas Hashem b'Midian, that we take God's Nikoma in Midian. So, um, we'll say Nishmas Hashem b'Midyan. So now the Midrash, and this is what I want to point out to you. Here it comes. God says, "Well, says Nikmas Hashem b'Midyan." Moshe said, "Gentlemen, boys, tzaddikim, we're gonna fight. You're fighting to take the vengeance that God has against Midian, who went against God's will, and they fought against God." Wait a minute. Hakadosh Baruch Hu Omar Nikomas Bnei Israel. Moshe, get 12,000 guys from every Shevet to fight the Midianites to take the Nikoma of the Jewish people. That's what God said to Moshe. But Moshe Amar Nikmas Hashem b'Midian. He didn't say take the vengeance of the Jewish people on Midian. He said take the vengeance of God on Midian. So wait a minute, who is it? Is this the vengeance of God or the vengeance of Bnei Israel? So here comes it. This is the reason for anti-Semitism. We'll see right away. Amar Kodesh Baruch Hu Lahem. God said to Moshe, Eina Elodika Shelachem. Hey, you got to take this is the vengeance of the Jewish people because this is your fight. Because Midian did that terrible act of seducing the Jewish boys, and you have to take vengeance for that. You see how much they hated you, that they trotted out all their daughters, 24,000 daughters to fornicate with 24,000 Jewish boys. So Hashem said, Nikmas, take the vengeance for that they hate you. And they hated you so much that they caused 24,000 of your people to die. But Moshe didn't say that it's the vengeance of the Jewish people. And he tells God, they hate us because of you. And Moshe replies like this: Ribon ha'olamim. God, don't tell us that they hate us because we're Jewish. I mean, that they hate us. They only hate us because we do your will. Please, God, Ribon ha'olamim, Master of the world. Imayinu ha'reivim. If we were like them, ha'reivim, uncircumcised, oh, out there by the Zara, if we would be polytheists, we would worship a Zara. Oh, co-pray mitzvahs, if we would defy the mitzvahs, we'd be like them. Oh, are you sonin, O son? They wouldn't hate us. Why do they hate us? They wouldn't be running after us. Wouldn't be anti-Semitism. They wouldn't hate us. But why do they hate us? If we were uncircumcised, if we were polytheists, serving false gods. If we didn't do the mistress, we deny the mistress, we laugh at the mistress, they wouldn't hate us, then we're just like them. They don't attack us, they don't right means they don't run after us. Ella Bishvil Taino Mitzvahs. You made us different from them because of they hate us. Again, underscored, underlined, anti-Semitism. They hate us. Ella Bishvil Taino Mitzvahs because of the Torah and the mitzvahs that you gave us. Therefore, Hilkach Nekama Shelach, it's your vengeance. You gave Torah and mitzvahs, and you have to take the vengeance on them that they hate us and what they do to us, just because because you gave us the Torah and mitzvahs and you made us different from them. So here is clear reasons in the Midrash, Matos-Masei, chapter base, that they hate us because, again, what Moshe Rabbeinu you said, if we would be uncircumcised, if we would be polytheists, if we would deny the mitzvahs and laugh at them, deny them, koflim, we would announce a denial of mitzvahs. They wouldn't like them. They wouldn't hate us. They hate us because of you, because of what you made us different. Therefore, it's your vengeance, because really, you were the one that gave us the mitzvahs. So they hate you, because they don't want authority. And the Jews present authority, they have mitzvahs. And that makes the nations of the world hate us, because they hate you, God. They hate your authority. You told Jews 613 things that they 365 that they can't, and 248 that they should. So that's why they don't. We represent you. We represent doing your will, and they don't want to do your will. They want to do their own thing. We don't want to be told what to do. I'm all right. You're all right. Well, you're not all right because you're not doing the right things. And God tells you what the right and wrong things are. And God gave them 7 mitzvahs that everybody has to do. But the Jews are the chosen people to serve God, and they're the examples. And hey, you don't have to be Jewish, but you got to keep the 7 mitzvahs. And so here it's very clear that God calls it the vengeance to hate the Jewish people because they're Jewish. And but really because they're different. Because you made us different. Look at the 3 mitzvahs that he picks. You can go into the 3. If we were uncircumcised, if we were serving Avodah Zarah, doing their religions, which is Avodah Zarah, if we served Yashki, which is Avodah Zarah, and we made fun and we didn't keep the mitzvahs, then they wouldn't hate us. They hate us because it made us different. So here, clear. What's the answer to some? They hate God. It's your vengeance. That's why God says, "Nakom nikmas b'nei Yisrael." Take the vengeance of the Jewish people. And when Moshe commands them, it says, "Take the vengeance of Hashem." And God tells you, "I told you to say b'nei Yisrael." That vengeance is because they hate you. And Moshe says, God, they hate you. We represent you. If we didn't represent you, you're doing your will. If we were uncircumcised, if we did avoid Zara, we served Yoshki. And if we deprecated the mitzvahs, kofar mitzvahs, they wouldn't hate us. But because we're different, that's why they hate us. And so what's the solution to anti-Semitism? The solution is, I told you many times, we've talked about it, the Jewish people are likened to the Kapsa Achas. Shivim Ze'ebim. The Jews are a little lamb amongst 70 wolves. What option does the little lamb can't fight the 70 wolves? But the option is stay close to the shepherd. The shepherd can fight the 70 wolves. And that's our option. We have to stay close to God. And boy, oh boy, when the miracles that we're seeing now by God, whoa. 3 of their leaders of the enemies who have all of them blood on their hand, killers, Rutschrim, and the took care of them. They don't want to say, Iran doesn't want to say, just because they didn't, for the two ones, the Hezbollah and the leader and the Hamas leader, they took responsibility. But for the Iran, for the one who was killed in Iran, the leader, Ismail Inano, whatever his name is, a corrupt billionaire, robbing funds from his whole people, and he was the leader of Hamas, and they denounced that they know it was the Jews who did it, and they denounced it as a cowardly act. Cowardly act. We're not perfect. With the guys risked their lives, and with the plane, how brilliant! They found exactly where he was sleeping, in which hotel, and had precisely whatever a missile straight into that bedroom. Anyway, God is doing miracles for the Jewish people, and He is taking vengeance. And we hope there should be more miracles, and I hope there'll be miracles with the hostages, that they'll get out in a miraculous way.
Amen.
That's the next thing I hope to see. We hope to see. Anyway, I have to. It's getting earlier. The davening in the shuls, and I make a difference in the millions many times. So I have to go, and I want to wish you all a good Shabbos. And hey, I think not too long we'll be able to get back to 9 o'clock, and that suits me better. But we'll talk about that. And let me wish everybody who's on a very good Shabbos.
Rabbi,
All Yisrael.
Thank you,
Rabbi
Rabbi.
Feller,
Yeah.
do you want to go to 9 o'clock for next week?
No, no, that we're still not. We're coming home now about 9:30, but we were coming home 10 o'clock not long ago. So maybe no, I think we should stick with 7 o'clock, and I'll try to be on time. And this Shabbos is Shabbos Chazak, and it's a Shabbos in the Borshim also. And so you'll be energized if you study both uh, both Sedras, Matos and Masei. Masei deals with all the travels of the Jews. And at the end, we say Chazak, Chazak. If you try to read that and try to be in a shul, but if you can't be, just read it in your own Chumash. And when you come to the end, say Chazak, Chazak, V'ris Chazek. Take take strength and be strengthened. And that's a bracha to say that. And it's in the city should bench Rich Chodesh. And Rich Chodesh is, I believe, Rich Chodesh is Monday. I mean, we bench Rich Chodesh Shabbos, and Rich Chodesh itself is Monday. Anyway, I wish you all a good Shabbos and a good Chodesh.
Good Shabbos, Rabbi.
And anybody have anything else they'd like to say?
Thank you,
Better?
Rabbi.
No. Okay, we'll see you, Mr. Chen, next week.
Yeah. Next
Good
Shabbos.
Shabbos.
Amen. Kol Tov.